Aloha! Let's do a market update for the week ending in May 21st, 2001 at 11:54 a.m. Hawaiian Standard Time. No midnight oil tonight, my friends. So we're looking at the S&P 500, and do you see a bit of a W here? We've been looking at that for the last couple days of market wraps. But look what's going on. All right, look what happened. Our W, which what we'd be looking for a strong W, is this part being lower than this part, but this part of the W, it's not going up. It's not going up. It's going a little sideways. So are we making a new W? I'm not sure, but I think what's going on for me would constitute of scratching this W here. It's not very clean. Still could get there, but this particular W formation was looking good until I saw this. Hits this 20-day moving average and goes sideways on the a little downward sideways on the line chart. But we see for today's candle, opens up here, trades as high as here, trades as low as here, closes here. And what is this? We look to the left. Yeah, we're kind of just bumping our heads against here. And you may remember that each of these candles on the daily chart is 1 day, and 5 days makes up a week. So now our weekly candle has closed. This is our weekly candle. So each one of these candles is made up of 1 week, 5 days, assuming it's a normal trading day, trading week. And this looks a little bearish here. We saw on the daily chart that it was kind of bumping its head up against there. So we're pulled back, but in the big picture of things, look at it's still this uptrend. Granted, the 200-day moving average is still in an upward trend, but it's just not as strong. The 50-day a little bit stronger, going up. 20-day, things could correct and go down lower, but still at the moment, anybody's guess. Anybody's guess is not as good as anybody's guess, because I guess it depends who's guessing. But what would this particularly tell me right now? We had a lot of selling going off through the week, but buyers came in, a little bit of indecision, and it doesn't look that bad. I wouldn't. It definitely could. Selling could pick up, but just based on what we're seeing here, right, pulled all the way down to the 50-day moving average twice in the last 2 or 3 weeks on the daily, and we're bounced back off from it, and we're this far away from all-time highs. So overall, on the daily, the 200 days moving up, everything looks pretty well, but we shall see. Now here's an image of a strong W. You see it went off. So is that what's going to happen? Are we going to form a good W and it's going to take off? Not sure. Here's the futures. Futures ended looking kind of bearish there. So we had these 3 days of selling off, a lot of volume of, well, not necessarily a lot of volume, but a lot of price action to the upside. And then our candle, even though it is a bearish candle, if you notice, it's right here. It's right here at the top of this candle. So it could be possibly building a little bit of momentum for the upside. We will see come Monday. Do we look at the weekly of that? Looks pretty similar to the one we looked at, and basically because the future and the S&P 500 pretty closely related. Let's take a look at gold. Well, gold is still starting to base out. If you remember way back whenever I was talking about if it gets above the 200-day moving average and starts staying above the 200-day moving average, that is what we see at the moment. Of course, things could change at any time. No strong W here. You can see a strong W, but as far as this, nothing looking really clean and strong. And we see we got a bearish candle, but it's still in the upper 50% of this candle, so might not be any cause for some sort of alarm or anything like that. Because sometimes what happens, let me find one as an example, like right here, we got a red candle in the middle of all this green. So sometimes what happens is that people are taking profits, and it's a normal, healthy thing going on in the market, but it still continues to go up. So maybe we'll kind of go sideways a little bit, maybe even pull back a little bit, but looks like perhaps we could still be going up. Now, as I mentioned, I think in last night's video, if it breaks below this point, then we want to look to see if it's going to break below this point or stabilize here. Let's take a look at how did the weekly chart close? Very, very strong. Okay, so we're looking very strong on the weekly. And here still we have this area that we're dealing with. So a little bit of resistance, but you know, we have these three candles all in alignment here, and we broke above those. The wicks come up here, and we're right around that area. So it looks pretty bullish in the big picture. Check out silver. Okay, sellers came in for silver, but yet still we're on a bit of this where looks like we're heading up in this channel, right? But see the 20-day moving average moving up, and let's take a look and see what the line chart gives us. Nothing clean, nothing clean is standing out on the line chart. So it looks like are we going to, where are we going to stay? How far? We sold off to about here, so we had this candle here, and then it slowly came back to where this candle started, right in this area, which is kind of right in here. So, and then if we move to the left, looks like, see, there's something going on around that price point. So it looks like around the mid 27 to 2850-ish or so is a little area where buyers and sellers are kind of fighting back and forth, and it'll be interesting to see which side the price action of silver is going to go to, and whatever side it goes to, it'll probably have a difficult time going the opposite direction in that little area. Oil. If you haven't watched the video that I said this before, this is my #1 favorite to trade. So we see oil had 3 strong days of selling off. Now we had this a lot of buyers come in. Right, the volume for the selling was big, the volume for the buying was big, and we're right closed up here, but looks like we're in this range of around the low 60s to the mid 60s. And also what I've been noticing is up until recently, it's been a slow little creep up, right? For example, here's where some kind of lows were. Yeah, I see this one a little bit higher, right here, a little higher, pulls back, but a little higher, then we're pulling back here. So let's look at the weekly. Did I forget to look at the weekly on silver? If so, forgive me. All right, weekly is obviously this weekly candle closed with some bearish action in there, and definitely engulfing this candle, engulfing the candle above it. Still this, as I mentioned, this mid 60s range with looks like this bottom of bottom of that range being the low 60s. And we're here kind of in this. So what I'm guessing is going to happen over, like, let's say the next week, 2 weeks to a month is, I think it's going to stay a bit in this range. It might go a little bit lower, might go a little bit higher, but I think overall, as more and more candles close on the daily and the weekly, I think we're going to find a bit of some range that is in the high 50s to mid 60s for a certain amount of time, with some potential to move up. Now I know there's a lot of fundamental factors going on that might indicate that that there should be a lot of oil coming onto the market, pushing prices down, but I think there's also a lot of fundamental factors that are pushing the prices of oil up, so maybe they'll balance out. But regardless, for me personally, it almost, not 100%, but almost doesn't matter which way these assets trade, because I tend to trade in a way that is less reliant on the accurate picking of a direction, and is more reliant on picking where the asset will not trade. If that sounds confusing, then you need to go to my website and download the free options seller guide. Just go to the website, tradinginvestingstrategies.com. You'll find it. And now let's take a look at the dollar. Oh, actually, Bitcoin. We'll do Bitcoin first. Okay, so as we have been discussing for X amount of videos in the past, Bitcoin, I was looking to see is how quickly can Bitcoin make it to the top of this wide range bearish candle here. And as we see here, on that day I discussed it made it, or maybe it was last night, discussed that it made it to 50%, but the sellers came in, they're bringing it down to the bottom of this 25% of this big candle here. And as I was discussing how many days is it going to take to get up to break this, and we see this is a really setback for people that want the price of Bitcoin to go up, is that it really sold off here, and it did not base out, and it broke this bottom. It's way down here now, still trading. So now we're waiting for this candle to close. And what's interesting about candles, which maybe you know this, but if you don't, see this one? See how this long, this green line, how long that was? That means the Bitcoin traded way down here. And when it was way down here, that was looking super, super bullish, right? Excuse me, bearish. But then buyers came in and pushed it all the way back up here. So my point is, until these candles are closed, you don't have a full idea of what's going on with the candle. A picture is being painted, but the picture is not complete. So right now we're going to wait to see how this particular candle closes. If buyers come in and they push it back up like this, then you know, maybe we're building a base to go up, or could be to sell off. We'll see. If this candle closes looking like this, then we got a different way to take the discussion. So let's wait and see what that's going to look like. Take a quick look at the line chart, see if, woo. Okay, so W is going up, right? Here's a little W going up, and what's the reverse? If you just flip this upside down, then you get an M. So right here we have an M. And the way that you could, if you want to trade the MW strategy on the line chart, you see the line go up here to make the first leg of the M. You see it come down here. You see it retest the high, doesn't make it. Now you see it going down, and when it gets past this part, then that would be an indication to put on a trade. And right now, it'd be profitable. if you were to do that. But yeah, so it looks like based on this is a pretty clean M here, and looks like some powerful downward movement. Take a look at the weekly. All right, well, sometimes what happens is when these movements to the up or to the down, when they start with a wide range candle, they tend to end with narrow range things. Now this isn't really narrow, but if it's narrow compared to this, and granted it's not closed yet, it's still moving, but we see that there's a lot of selling here, and there was a lot of selling here, but look, buyers came in. See, on this one, there was a lot of selling here, but buyers did not step up enough to drive it up here to make that wick long. Here, they did. So perhaps the selling is maybe coming to a little bit of a slowdown. Another thing that I would like to point out right now is that one of the very first things I learned about reading these, reading the financial charts and trading in the different financial markets was around, was it, I don't know if it was 2007, 2006. I think, well, it might have been 2007. So a friend told me that trading is 10% knowledge and skill and 90% emotional control. Now, if that percentage completely accurate, I don't know. But this idea that the knowledge, you need the knowledge, but the knowledge and the skill has less impact on your actual results versus your control of your emotions. So for example, if you are a Bitcoin bear, then if you notice yourself being aggravated or disagreeing or anything like that, if I'm mentioning something that is bullish for Bitcoin, or if you are a Bitcoin bull and as I'm looking at these charts, if I'm mentioning something that is bearish for Bitcoin, if you're getting aggravated or in disagreement or something like that, then that might be an indication that you need to check your emotions. Because the reality, no matter what it might seem to you, the reality is I'm Bitcoin neutral. I don't care. I do not care. I'm just looking at this and trying to come to a conclusion of which direction it may go, and to whatever direction it may go, how high it might go and how long it might take to get there. That's it. I don't care. I have no emotional investment involved in this asset. And I'm trying to do my best to have no emotional investment involved in any of these assets, even if I have my own money in play. So just keep that in mind when you're going through this stuff. You don't want to be doing like confirmational bias or confirmation bias, whatever it is. There's some term for this where you're looking for things that are going to confirm what your belief is. Instead, I would recommend look at information from a neutral place of belief, look at information, and then try to form an opinion, not a belief, an opinion on what might happen based on that. Now, we're not talking about morals and ethics here. We're just talking about the almost arbitrary price of an asset. You know, it's not gravity. It wasn't around when Mother Nature first, however the earth got formed and all this stuff. We're talking about man-made stuff here. So don't get all emotionally attached to it. And that's what a lot of people do. When emotions go up, intelligence goes down. You want your intelligence to be high. So if you notice yourself getting emotional, which Bitcoin and cryptocurrencies are highly emotional for the bears and the bulls right now, so just try to keep yourself in check with that. And so yeah, we'll look to see what happened. Maybe the selling is done. Maybe it's maybe there's going to be more, and I will be anxiously waiting to find out. Now let's take a look at what the dollar is doing. For some people, this is an emotional one also. The dollar. All right, maybe we're building a little bit of a base, kind of a range, but yeah, you see it's been going down for a while. Let's take a look at the weekly. So since around April, a lot of selling pressure has been coming in. There's a little bit of a, these buyers came in, they drove it all the way up to here, but sellers came in. So basically your body is at the bottom end of where the trading action was. And then for this week, we see that it's, even though it's not much bigger, you can see that this candle is engulfing this candle just by a little bit. So for example, here, these candles are kind of the same range, right? And then it was already in this downward trend. You had three weeks of going down, 1 week of up, sort of the same. So maybe people are taking profits. And what I mean by that is when people short this, when people make a bet on this that that benefits from the price action going down, if they're literally short selling it, it means you borrow shares, you sell them, and now your obligation is to, so you sell to open. Now your obligation is to buy to close. So people sell to open, right? Price goes down. Now they want to take a profit. They buy to close. And sometimes that buying to close presses the price up. And then once all these people are buying to close, or all these people, all these shares, whatever it might be, after that, upward pressure is done, then because that was just sort of giving some upward pressure to some downward pressure, can you see my hand in there? Then some more selling pressure comes in. So maybe that's what's going on here. We will see. In the big picture of things, I think that even though the value of the dollar may go up and down a little bit, I think it's going to continue this general trend that it's been on for a good amount of time. All right, we got a big spike up here. It was 3 years of just going down, but we'll see. You know, for the sake of my purchasing power and your purchasing power, I hope that's not what happens. But hope is not a strategy, my friends. And for our last thing, let's look at the 10-year Treasury interest rates. So we closed at 1.40. Oh, maybe not. We closed at 1.62. I have no idea what's going on with this chart. I usually just look at this, to be honest with you. So interest rates, they moved way up. They're a little bit down now. And we're going to keep watching the interest rate. Not because we're going to try to trade the interest rate or anything like that, but we want to develop an awareness of where the 10-year Treasury is. And then while we're developing this awareness, we're going to be looking to see how other assets are acting when there is a significant move up. So for example, when the interest rates were right up here, what were the other assets doing? So we'll be watching that. In the meantime, my friends, depending on what's going on with your life, if you are married, not married, kids, no kids, work a lot, don't work a lot, live in a time zone like I do, that the U.S. markets open at generally 4:30 a.m. or 3:30 a.m. depending on daylight savings time, or if you live right in Eastern Standard Time Zone. All these different things, how much energy, how much mental and emotional energy that you're already devoting to certain aspects of your life, all these different things play into what sort of trading that you'll do best at the moment. So I'll give you an example. Let's say that let's say everything is going good in your life, right? Everything is going good. Things are great. When things are going great, you don't use as much mental and emotional energy to maintain what's going on with your life because everything's great. It's good. You have extra energy to do things. But when things go bad, let's say you have someone pass away in the family, you know, someone that you really cared about, and it takes an emotional toll on you. That's a type of situation that now all of a sudden things aren't great. The amount of energy that you need to put in just to regular daily maintenance increases. So for me, for example, let's say if I was trying a strategy that was trading in the market the first hour to 2 hours of the day, that means that I would have to wake up around 4:30, well 3:30 now for the daylight savings times. I would have to wake up at 3:30 a.m. and trade the strategy. So when something would happen, like I have someone pass away in my family, that puts extra stress on my life. And if I don't have the natural habit of waking up at 3:30 a.m. in the morning, and I was only waking up at 3:30 a.m. in the morning because it was really difficult, but I was using willpower, I was using discipline, and I wanted it enough, and la da da da, and I was making it happen, but it was hard. Well, at some point, the stress level in life will go up, and it will go past a certain level that causes other things to fall away. So something happens, I get stressed out, there's a death in the family, I'm having a hard time sleeping. Now all of a sudden, the things that are not in my normal type of behavior pattern are going to quickly fall away. So waking up at 3:30 in the morning, because if you were to ask me, Brent, what time do you naturally wake up? I naturally wake up around 6 a.m. to 6:30 a.m. No alarm clock, that's what time I'm generally going to wake up. What time do I naturally go to sleep? Probably around 10:30. 10:30, sometimes 11, if there's no disturbances or anything. So that means I'm generally sleeping from about 10 p.m. at night to about 6:30 in the morning. And before you start telling me, oh, you only need 8 hours of sleep or some sort of BS like that, that's all BS. Everybody's different. Everybody's different. The amount that you need to sleep in a day and the amount that someone else needs to sleep in a day is not necessarily the same. And just because some textbook says it is, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. The reality is everybody's a little different. So the point is that you need to go, you would be, if you think that you would be benefited from working with someone like me that understands it's not just about what does this pattern do, what does this pattern indicate. All these people selling courses that are like, make whatever $1,000 a week with these 3 simple patterns, blah 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 blah. That's what I think about it. Is there some value in that stuff? Sure. But if your lifestyle is set up that you're not going to continue to do that activity, it doesn't matter about that pattern. You want to figure out what's going on in your lifestyle and then find strategies that fit into your lifestyle. So no matter what happens, you continue to do the strategy. Now, speaking of emotion going up and intelligence goes down, you can see this part gets me kind of emotional because it is a big irritant to me in life that some people are going to be number 1, arrogant enough, number 2, ignorant enough, and number 3, any other adjective you want to give them, that they either are unwilling to acknowledge this or they are unable to acknowledge this. And then it makes people like me, because I've gone through a lot of this stuff, and maybe people like you, it puts us in a bad position because we end up spending money and attempting to implement strategies into our life that we probably would have been better off implementing something else and maybe working up to that. So that's my rant for the week. Hope you guys have a fantastic day. Reach out to me if you want to work one-on-one. We'll have a conversation. Not everybody's going to be the good fit for this. I'm not a good fit for everybody. You're not not everybody's a good fit for me. So this is not a one-size-fits-all type of program. To be totally honest with you, I have a very busy schedule with things going on and what I'm doing. I have a lot of stuff going on in my own life, and that I'm not going to work with people that somehow cause more stress than just have that I have fun with, right? And you probably wouldn't want to do that either. Right? You probably wouldn't want to continue to do something just like a strategy. You won't do it if it's too stressful. So let's reach out to me if you're interested. We may or may not be a good fit, but we'll find out. You guys have a fantastic week and look at those charts.